Hi everyone, welcome to the next episode of Synced Up Movement Basics. My name is Kyle and today we're going to go over the 5 basic arm positions known as port-de-bras. If you haven't gotten the chance, please check down in our description below to see our previous video over the 5 basic standing positions in ballet, as everything we talked about in there relates to what we'll be talking about in here. Similar to the standing positions, port-de-bras is the foundation of everything we do in dance and marching art, and they give us an overall clear, controlled, and polished look. If you haven't yet, please feel free to like the video, subscribe to our channel, and hit that bell icon below so you can be notified about any future uploads. Now, let's go learn about port-de-bras. So you may be asking me, Kyle, what's a port-de-bras? Well, a port-de-bras is a French term that translates to carriage of the arms. It's essentially just the positionings we have of the arms that correlate with the standing positions that we went over in the previous video. They're the basics of standard in ballet dance, and they're super crucial for everything we do in dance, movement, color guard, and the marching arts as a whole. There are a total of 5 that we're going to be going over today in this video. So starting off, we're going to be going over first position port-de-bras. So you're going to start with your arms out in front of you as if you're holding a beach ball. You want to make sure that your fingers in your hand are in line with your sternum and your arms are curved, but they are lengthened a little bit farther. So I want to be careful when I'm in these port-de-bras positions. There will be curvature in my arms, but I don't want to curve so much that I'm bending so far at the elbows. You want to think about lengthening just a little bit farther with that position. In first position, be careful not to reach too high or too low. You just want those hands in line with your sternum. Also be careful that you're not letting your elbows drop. You want to lift those up and make sure that your shoulders are pressed down. So moving from first position port-de-bras, we open up into second position port-de-bras. It's the same as first, except I have space between my hands now. I still have the curvature of my arms. My elbows are lifted and my shoulders are pressed down. But now I'm kind of imagining like I'm wrapping my arms around 2 friends, yeah? So again, there's curvature in my arms, but not so much to where they're super bent, just a soft curve. Kind of think of like a Barbie doll arm where there's just a little bit of curve in the elbow, but not too much. Moving on from second position, we go to third. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take one of my arms from second and move them back into that first position positioning. But this is called third because I have one out to the side and one in front of me. Everything that applied to the first position and second position carriage of the arms applies to the third. I just have them in 2 separate positionings. Another way to remember this is if you take 1 plus 2, that makes 3. So this is your third position port-de-bras. Again, I'm double checking that my elbows are lifted and my shoulders are pressed downwards with a slight curve in my arms. Moving on from third position, we're gonna move into fourth. That hand that's in front of me is gonna stay where it is right now. I'm gonna take this hand that's off to the side and I'm gonna bring it up above my head. Make sure that when you have a hand above your head that it's not truly in line with your head, but more so slightly in front of you. And I'll go into more detail about why you want your hands in front of you in just a little bit. But slightly in front of me right now, it still has that soft curve. It's not fully bent, but it's also not fully straight. A soft curve. My elbow is still lifted and my shoulder is still down. So moving on from fourth position, I want to talk about fifth position. We're going to take that hand that's in front and we're going to bring it up to meet the hand that is above my head. Remember, my arms are not in line with my head. They're slightly in front of me. My elbows are slightly bent, but still long. It's not a full bent, a nice long shape. My elbows are also lifted and my shoulders are pressed down. The space between my hands is not big. I'm not opening up this far. They're pretty close together, and same applies to first position. The hands are pretty close together. They're not fully touching, but they're nice and close. A good way to remember fourth position is if I take fifth and subtract first, I'll get fourth. So similar to how we did first plus second, you get third. If you do fifth minus first, you get fourth. So those are some quick little tips to remember each of the positions. Again, we have first position, we have second position, we have third position, we have fourth position, and we have fifth position. So now that we know all 5 of our arm positions, I want to talk a little bit more in detail about alignment in relation to our body. So if you remember, when I was talking about fifth position, I told you guys not to let it line up with your head and you want to slightly bring your hands in front so you could see it. That applies to all the positions. Whenever I'm in first, second, third, fourth, Or fifth, I can always see my hands in my peripherals, yeah? If I don't see them in my peripherals, that means I'm pulling them so far back that I can't see them anymore, and this is called hyperextension. We want to avoid that. So you want to make sure that as you're carrying through these positions of the arms, that you can make sure that you always see them. For first position, it's obvious you can see it in front of you. When we go out to second, it's easy for us to go into that hyperextended state. So be careful that you bring it slightly in front to where when you're looking forward, you can see your hands and your peripherals. For third position, you see that front hand, but that side hand, be careful. For fourth position, that top hand, be careful. And for fifth position, both hands, be careful not to pull back so far that you hyperextend. We want to avoid that. Now that we have a better understanding of all of the arm positions, I want to go in a little bit more into detail about specific shaping of the arms and how to create that perfect picture realistically. First thing I want to talk about is curvature. So I mentioned it a lot as we were going through the positions, but essentially you want to make sure that the arm isn't fully straight, nor is it too bent at the joints. You want to have a soft curve, so go ahead and just relax your arm out, extend it out straight in front of you, and give a slight bend in the elbow and the wrist. Not super big, just a slight bend. Again, imagine like a Barbie doll arm. Be careful that the wrist is not breaking too far, nor is the elbow breaking too far. So just a slight curve in the arm. When it comes to our fingertips, they're not glued together, nor are they splayed out. They're just soft and relaxed, and the thumb is just a little bit more disconnected. So it creates kind of this claw shape, but not really, just again, a relaxed shaping of the hand that is a little bit closer together with the fingertips. When it comes to my elbow, it's lifted. So I want to make sure, a good example would be out in second position. I want to make sure that I'm not letting the elbow drop down. Again, that causes a break in the wrist, a break in the curvature of the arm as I go through the rest of the shaping. I want to make sure I have a lift in the elbow so it stays a little bit more flat as if I'm resting this on top of a high table, right? But the thing you want to be careful with is as you raise that elbow, you don't want to let your shoulder start to hike up or push forward. You want to think about pressing that shoulder down and back while keeping the elbow forward and up. So it's going to feel kind of like a wringing of a towel sensation where you're pulling your shoulder back and then pushing your elbow up and forward. So be careful to make sure you're feeling that properly and you're not letting one overtake the other. They both should be doing their own sort of thing. The next thing you want to make sure that you're doing is as you're lifting in the elbow and pressing the shoulder down, you want to give just the slightest bit of curve in the hand to where it's not facing flat down. So naturally, if I let my hand follow what my elbow's doing, my full forearm and my palm is going to face downward. But as I let the forearm go down with the elbow rising up, I want to pull my wrist back so that way my palms face slightly forward, not fully flat to the front, but kind of at this downward angle forward of the room though. So when I'm out in my second position, I want to make sure that I'm not letting them go flat down. They should be a little bit more curved forward. And that applies in first position, they're facing me, but they're lifted up as opposed to pressed down. Fifth position, they're lifted up as opposed to pressed flat front. And then same for fourth and third position. You just want to make sure that as the elbow rises, the shoulder presses down and the palm faces forward. Awesome, so just to recap everything we've gone over today, we covered the 5 basic arm positions in port-de-bras, that being first, second, third, fourth, and fifth position. We talked about how they relate in terms of our body, making sure that in first position, our hands are in line with our sternum. Second positions, our hands are slightly in front of us. Third position applies both of those ideas. Fourth position has that fifth position idea where we're making sure not to make that hand is in line with our head. And then fifth position, same thing, we want to bring it slightly in front of us. Along with that, we also talked about specific shapings of the arm, making sure we're creating just the slightest bit of a curve in the arm. And then we also talked about making sure we're finding rotation and lifting the elbow while also pressing the shoulder down. You really want to imagine if there's a water droplet that starts at your shoulder, it should be able to travel all the way down to the end of your fingertip and then fall off, as opposed to if I had my elbow drop down, it would fall off at my elbow. I hope you have a better understanding now of port-de-bras and a better understanding of the basic carriage of arms in general and the shaping that they should be creating. If you found this video helpful or enjoyed it in any way, please feel free to like and comment down below, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.